MacVoices is supported by Smile, the makers of world-class software like Text Expander. Find out about all their great utilities at smilesoftware.com. MacVoices is at Macstock in Chicago. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, you probably recognize Mike Schmitz. He is a speaker at Macstock, and he has been on the road to Macstock along with other things. You may not recognize his wife, Rachel, who we decided to drag in here because she is it fair to say you're not a novice, but an amateur?
Yes.
As far as coming to Macstock, and she came, I think, the first year, and I think she was surprised at what she got out of it.
That would be true. Yeah, definitely.
So, and that's the reason I ask is because we're constantly telling people, come to Macstock. You're among friends, and you learn so much, and you're a living, breathing example.
That's true. I came year 2 for the first time, mostly to hang out with my husband and get away from the kids for a weekend. But I was pleasantly surprised by how friendly everyone is. I enjoyed the company, and I learned a lot, actually.
In her words, she's not a nerd like me.
No, I'm more of an artistic type. I try not to be a nerd, but he's rubbed off on me over the years.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of happens. When you say artistic type, what type of artistic type are you?
Well, I have a fine arts degree, but I mostly do photography. So.
Okay. So have you gotten in? I mean, I'm sure you have to do some digital editing of your photography.
Yes, I have a, what do you call it? A Mac Adorable?
Yep, MacBook Adorable, the 12-inch.
Okay.
So I can do what I need to do really well and effectively. But beyond that, I'm not real interested in learning more about the Mac until I came like 2 years ago. I've kind of tweaked some things and picked up tidbits, so I've really enjoyed coming.
That's great. And I'm now, Mike Potter has shifted the focus of Macstock this year to productivity. Before, it was kind of all over the place, a lot of great presentations, but there wasn't a theme. This year there's a theme. How are you responding to that?
I enjoy it. I have to be productive because I have 5 children. So in order to get anything done, you have to do it fast and well. So it's right up my alley.
Say that again, Mike.
And I make you.
I was curious to see just how you're reacting to it because I've heard some other people. There's some first timers here. There are a lot of legacy people that have been in multiple years, and I think the response is, veterans. Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. That have responded very positively to this. So, Mike, from your perspective, you and I talked about this theme seemed to be tailor-made for you, and certainly I got to sit through your session yesterday, and you knocked it out of the park. You gave me some things to think about.
Well, thank you. I obviously like the theme. I do think, looking at how other people have responded to the theme, I think maybe it would be better to just let people, just let it rip on whatever you feel comfortable with. But I don't know. I mean, I like having a focused direction for the conference in general. But I feel like when people were able to just completely pick their own topics, that you could tell some of the speakers felt more comfortable in a different domain.
Yeah, but I also think that the idea of kind of forcing you into, if you're comfortable talking about, say, photography, okay, so how am I going to be a more productive photographer? And whatever that means, maybe that's more prolific, maybe just better photographer, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I'm projecting because I felt comfortable doing it. I mean, I'm the host of the productivity show. I work for a company that does productivity training, so this was easy for me, but I guess trying to put myself in somebody else's shoes, to have to adapt your normal message, to fit a theme, I could see where that could be difficult. If I had to talk about, I don't know, if it's creativity next year, I don't feel like I'm that creative. I'm a writer, but I don't have any super awesome creativity workflows that I use. You're probably more qualified to speak to that. Maybe you'll be presenting next year.
There you go. Would you consider speaking?
I don't know, maybe.
I think I disagree with you, Mike. Though I think that everybody here is creative, and I've fallen into that trap where I think that if I don't write it or it doesn't come out of my hand or maybe out of my lens, that I'm not a creative. And I've had some pretty intelligent people say, no, there are different kinds of creativity. You just have to recognize the kind you are. And it's made me feel better about my own efforts because, okay, I can't draw. I can't, God knows I can't sing. But, there are other things that you can do. So
Yeah.
And he's a musician, actually, so he is creative.
It's true. I've gone through my own internal struggle with that, where like I used to write songs and I'd find out that the melody line I took or the chord progression, I ripped off from some other song, and I felt like, well, I can't create anything. And then I read a book called Steal Like an Artist by Austin Kleon, where he talks about how all creativity is connecting dots in ways that they haven't been connected before. So if you think about that, I mean, really, like your inputs, you synthesize them, you connect the dots in different ways. The output it's kind of like a formula. You don't have to really worry about, well, am I creative, am I not creative? You don't have to get in the zone to be creative. It's just you put enough good stuff in, you get good stuff out. So I agree with you in that sense. But I guess what I'm thinking of is like from the stage showing a quote unquote creative workflow. Like Apple had the 15-inch MacBook when they launched it. They had like they had a DJ up there, and they had somebody from Adobe showing on. That's not me.
not DJ Mike?
No.
No. How do you feel about creativity from a photography standpoint, though? How would you define creativity?
That's a good question. I guess creativity is taking the inputs that you have, inspiration, whatever you might want to call it, and putting it together in a new way. So I would argue that there's no completely original ideas, but every time I've created, like whether it be a photograph or a painting or anything, it's like I just kind of draw from what's already in me, or I look around to be inspired, and then I take all of that and put it together in creating a piece of artwork or of writing or etc.
Well, what's really interesting about that is like productivity and creativity. A lot of times they're related. I mean, some people think about productivity and they're like, I can crank through more emails now, or I can do whatever I do in my cubicle job faster. Crank out more widgets. But the other side of that, really in the world that I'm in, is productivity is really being effective. So when you're talking about creativity, it's the number of words that you're good words. That you write, the posts that you publish, the podcast that you publish, like those sorts of things, actually doing the work and overcoming the distractions. So they are kind of related, but it's just interesting to me how like you phrase them or you position them certain ways, and then it kind of takes on a totally different meaning.
It does seem like that for purposes of at least some of the talks that you almost need to define productivity. How you define it under the framework of the discussion, and then go from there. And just as you can see here, that we don't have agreement with this group as to what it is, but that's healthy. So will you be back next year?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
just to get away from the kids.
Well,
It's interesting because the first year, I think there were a couple people who recognized me. Oh, good to see you. Now they just ask, where's your wife?
So you're the star.
Maybe the better half, I guess.
Mike, we're going to have you back on the show to discuss that, whether she's the better half or not. And we'll figure some way to spin productivity into it. I always want to ask, where can folks find you when you're not here talking to me and your wife about productivity?
Probably the best place to go would be personal website, MikeSchmitz.me. It's got links to all my projects.
Do you have website or web presences or social media presences?
I do. My website is Art of Kairos. That's KAIROS.com. And you can find me on Twitter at Rachel Schmitz.
What is, I'm sorry, what is it?
Art of Kairos. That is my photography business. I've been doing wedding photography for 12 years. And I do photography for companies that do product research as well.
Explain Kairos.
So,
Yeah, what's Kairos?
It means, it's an ancient Greek word that means the right or opportune moment. So it's very appropriate for photography because what you're trying to do, especially when it comes to a wedding, is photograph those moments, and you don't want to miss that special moment when Dad's hugging his little daughter before she walks down the aisle, and that's it. So.
Got it. Interesting. Guys, thanks so much. I know you guys want to get back into the presentations, but we'll do it again.
All right. Sounds great.
Thanks. Folks, more from Macstock in Chicago. I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our MacVoices Facebook group and get more out of your Apple Tech with MacVoices magazine, free on Flipboard. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us at patreon.com/MacVoices and join these folks who help keep MacVoices coming to you. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.